Hey guys, I just wanted to send out a message to you and also teach a little lesson. I hope you're all doing great. We miss you so much, and we hate that this is going on for lots of reasons, but mostly because we didn't really get a chance to say bye to y'all. But we miss you a lot, and we're hoping maybe we can still end this school year um, with y'all at school. I wanted to talk to you all real quick, give you some background information for your social studies work this week. I know that not all the classes were able to get up to the week 25, and so I wanted to kind of give some background information to get you caught up to speed. All right, so some of us were talking about the Texas Revolution, and I wanted to let y'all know the Texas Revolution, it ended in San Jacinto at the Battle of San Jacinto on April 21st, 1836. It was a very short battle. Santa Anna was captured quickly, and with that, he signed the Treaty of Velasco. And when he signed the Treaty of Velasco, what that did was that gave Texas the land. And so, April 21st, 1836, that was the Battle of San Jacinto. So we became our own country, and we were our own country for 9 years. We had 4 different presidents of the country of Texas. We had Sam Houston, he was the first one, and then Mirabeau Lamar, and then Sam Houston becomes president again, and then the last president of Texas is Anson Jones. And so in 1845, Texas becomes the 28th state of the United States, and at that time, we start seeing a huge influx of people coming from the United States. They start moving into Texas. There are people called immigrant agents, kind of the same thing as the impresarios, so like Stephen F. Austin and Green DeWitt. The immigrant agents, they would bring people from other countries, such as the German immigration company. They would bring the Germans to places like Bernie and Fredericksburg, New Braunfels, Comfort, that area, the hill country. The French, Henri Castro, he brings people to Castro, right? Castroville, right, just west of us. We have the Swedes moving up to Dallas. We see the Czechoslovakians coming, and they come to places like Jordanton. And then the Polish people start coming to places like Santa Maria, just southeast of San Antonio. So lots of people are coming from the southern United States as well. And with the people coming from the southern United States, we see their lifestyle coming with them. So in the southern United States, it was a huge agriculture. I mean, Texas had a lot of agriculture too, but Texas wasn't very populated when we were a part of Mexico. But we had a lot of people coming in from the southern United States, and with that came their lifestyle, which was the ranching or farming actually lifestyle, and cotton. So with the large cotton plantations, we start seeing a growth in slavery. Not so much where we're at because it's pretty dry, more East Texas where they have a lot more rain, a lot more fertile soil. But there is an influx of slavery in Texas. So Texas in 1845, we want to join the United States. The United States kind of doesn't want us, and the reason they don't want us is because they don't want another slave state joining the United States. So eventually, we're able to join, and we do join the United States as a slave state, and we become the 28th state. More and more people start coming to Texas. We start seeing a lot of discourse, people not really agreeing with how the United States is being ran. The North was built on factories, industry, that kind of stuff, and the South was really built on farming. Oops, I lost it. The South was built on farming, and specifically cotton, and so that was kind of the industries of both sides. They couldn't agree as to whether the states had the right to choose if slavery was okay. So the southern states, they choose to leave the United States and they form their own country, and that country was called the Confederate States of America. So Texas started out belonging to Spain, and then they went to, and France also claimed them early on. Then they joined Mexico, and then they were their own country, and now they joined the United States, and then they left the United States and joined the Confederate States of America. And we were a part of the Confederacy from 1861 to 1865. That was the years of the Civil War. The South lost the Civil War, and when they lost the Civil War in 1865, we rejoined the United States. The Civil War was definitely a very bloody battle. Hundreds of thousands of people died on both sides, and it was definitely the dark spot in American history. Very little fighting actually occurred in Texas. It was not. We were kind of far away from the major battles. The major battles were over in Virginia and Tennessee and Alabama and Mississippi and up in Pennsylvania. So a lot of the battles were back east. Not a lot happened in Texas. There were some, but not very much. Most people in Texas really were kind of disconnected. They had to join because of conscription, which means they were forced to join. But other than that, most Texans joined the South. Some did go up north, but a lot of them tried to stay out of it as much as they could. In 1865, the war ended. The South lost, and that means all of the states from the South rejoined the United States, and slavery became illegal. That's when they passed the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, which abolished slavery. The African Americans became citizens, and then they were given the right to vote. So one of the ways I always remember that is free citizens vote. And that was the 3 amendments that came along after the end of the Civil War. The time following the Civil War is called Reconstruction. And what does Reconstruction mean? It means just like if you were to reconstruct something, you're going to rebuild it. And that's what it is. It's the rebuilding of the United States, specifically the South. It was a very hard time for the South since cotton prices had fallen and slavery was no longer allowed. The South needed a way to make money. And Texas was huge, had lots of land and lots of cattle, free roaming cattle. So what they did was they went out and they started to round up these cattle. Because it turns out that Americans like beef, right? I love a good steak. So what they decided to do was they decided to round up these cattle and sell them. Now in Texas, you could buy a cow at auction for $4. But back east, they didn't have a whole lot of cows. So the price was way higher. So the price for a cow back east was $40. And so this is where we're going to start seeing the rise of the cowboy, the invention of the cowboy. And so what they would do is they would round up the cattle, and this is the starting of the cattle drives, which this is the newspaper that we're talking about this week, week 25. This is the start of the cattle drives, and the Texas rancher, big ranchers like Richard King down with the King Ranch, Wagoneer Ranch, the XIT Ranch, all these big ranches in Texas, and they are built because of the cattle industry. And so this is the beginning of the cowboy. I know a lot of times when we think of cowboys, you might picture someone who is riding bulls or participates in rodeos, but the original cowboys, the vaqueros down in South Texas, a lot of the cowboys, they came in all colors. There were African American cowboys, Anglo cowboys, Hispanic cowboys. There were cowboys of any sort. They were a rough individual who would go through and round up these cattle, and then they would take them on these long drives all the way up to the railroads. There weren't very many railroads in Texas, so they had to take them all the way up to places like Kansas and Missouri, and anywhere where they could get anywhere where they could get to the railroads to ship the cattle back east. So this was something that definitely helped Texans. Of course, if you were a small farmer, you didn't like them because the cattle, if you had 500 head of cattle and they're coming up the trail and they go through your land, then that means that a lot of times they would trample on your crops and ruin your crops. And so we start seeing the invention of things like barbed wire. So barbed wire, it really closed off the frontier, and it stopped the cattle drives. It slowed them. It slowed them, and so they started building different trails. The Sedalia Trail goes up to Missouri. The Chisholm Trail goes up to Kansas. We see the Great Western Trail, and then we see the Goodnight Loving Trail that goes out west. Every trail that gets made is made for a different purpose, usually to get around the barbed wire. But anyways, I just wanted to get y'all caught up to what we're talking about. We miss you. We love y'all, and we hope to see you soon. Y'all take care. Bye.